So I just turned 27 a couple of weeks back, and I was just thinking about, all these years pass by so quickly. And if you're 21 or 22, trust me, the next years, next 4 5 years are going to pass by so quickly. I feel like just last year I was 22 or 23. Yeah, so time flies by very quickly. So I was just thinking about all the things that I've done in the past years, all financial things, all my money mistakes that I've done. And trust me, I have done a lot of money mistakes in my 20s, especially in my mid 20s, in my early 20s, even last year, right? So I have this habit every year that on my birthday, I write down the good things that I did in the past year and the mistakes that I've done, right? So I make sure that I do not repeat these mistakes the next year. So this year, I was just writing down a couple of mistakes that I did in the past year. And I just thought, you know what? This might be a very good topic because there are a lot of mistakes that I've done, especially in the money category in my early 20s and mid 20s. And I thought, you know what, let's just make a video about it. So here we are. So the number one thing that I see a lot of people make mistakes when it comes to money in their 20s, and I did this as well at some point, and I've seen a lot of friends do it, right? They forget to pay themselves first. Now what I mean by that is you need to pay yourself first, okay? So you need to keep some money aside. And when I say pay yourself first, not pay yourself for spend money, okay? So let's say if you're making around 60,000-70,000 a month, or maybe 1 lakh, maybe 2 lakhs a month, right? So always keep some money aside in some other bank. Like, as soon as you get the money, just throw it into a new bank account and do not ever look at that bank account ever. Because the thing is, especially in your early 20s and mid 20s, because this is going to be new money, right? You're going to be making this kind of money for the first time in your life. And when you're making this kind of money, you are on a different high, okay? You feel like you rule the world. You're the king of the world. You can do anything that you want because this is the first time that you're getting so much money. You're going to see so much money and it is yours, right? So this is something that everyone misses, and this is something I would definitely tell you, that keep your money aside in a bank. Like, let's say 50% of the money that you earn, keep it in a different bank account. Do not touch it. Forget that the money was yours. Just live with the 50% you have. Trust me, this thing is going to build such a good habit for you down the line, and 2-3 years down the line, you're going to thank me later for sure. But also there's one saying that goes like, not saving money is the worst thing, and just saving money is the second worst thing you can do to your money, right? So what I mean by putting money aside is not just put money aside in a bank and just let it be there, right? You need to invest your money in proper places. Like, start investing in basic stuffs. Maybe it's Nifty 50, maybe it's basic stocks, maybe it's the safe stocks, maybe it's mutual funds, anywhere. Like, diversify your investment portfolio. Make it 50% safe, maybe 30% little risk, 20% high risk, like bifurcate your portfolio as you want. Now, if you're making less than 60 or 50,000 rupees a month, then the first thing that you need to do is learn a high value skill so that you can make more money. Because trust me, in this economy, if you're trying to save money, if you're earning below 60,000, 50,000, that's not going to make much sense, right? So the first point would be to learn some high value skills which will actually get you that point where you're making that kind of money. And if you want to learn how to make money online, I made an amazing video a couple of weeks back. I will attach some in the description or maybe in the card if I know how to do that. But yeah, so you can watch that video and learn how you can maybe make up to 6 figures per month, right? And once you start making that kind of money, do follow this kind of formula, right? Do not spend money on materialistic things. And that comes to my second point. I've seen a lot of people do this, and even I have done this a couple of times. I would say 1 or 2 times. You spend money on shiny things, okay? Now what I mean by shiny things is going to be the trendy things that you see on the internet, right? For the sole purpose of flexing, okay? Maybe may it be a watch, may it be a sneaker, may it be some kind of expensive thing which honestly doesn't make any sense, right? And trust me, every shiny thing wears off its shine after a certain time. No matter how much it shines in the first day, no matter how beautiful it looks in the first day, after some time, it's just going to be a regular thing in your life. And then the price that you paid for it will never justify it. So especially in your early 20s and mid 20s, if you're just starting out, if you're getting the taste of new money, do not, for the love of God, do not spend money for the sole sake of just flexing, okay? Stop this shit. And the most annoying part that triggers me is going to be when people buy expensive stuff on EMIs. Listen, if you cannot afford an iPhone, or if you cannot afford any expensive thing, do not buy it on EMI. I mean, it's a different case if you're buying an iPhone for the sole purpose of making money from it. If you're trying to create content, or if you're trying to make something online, right? Then it makes sense. But if you're buying an expensive thing on EMI just for the sake of having it, that is one of the most stupidest decisions you can make. You're building a habit of buying things which you cannot afford with the money which you don't have yet. And that is going to cost you much more in the future. Just stop buying things which you cannot afford. Focus on making yourself a high value individual, build up on high value skills, get that money, and then get that thing what you want. Now, one of the things that I would say you should definitely spend money on is going to be spend money on experiences rather than materialistic things. So, spend money on traveling, go out of the country, go to a place alone, maybe experience it, like stay there for 2 weeks, stay there for 3 weeks. Let's say if you were planning to buy a bag or maybe a watch of, let's say, 40,000-50,000, instead of that, spend that money on traveling, get that experience. That is going to be much more better than a materialistic fulfillment. I'll tell you a little incident what happened in Bali. So last year I went to Bali, right? So I wanted to stay there for 1 month, but then I ended up loving it so much. I stayed 1 more month. So I stayed there for 2 months, and it was one of the best times that I had in my life. I had such good experiences. I met so many people. It was just amazing, So I'll tell you one incident. What happened was, so one morning I just grabbed my book, right? I went by the pool and I was just reading a book. And I met this guy, okay? Apparently, I knew that he was some kind of YouTuber, but I didn't know he was a big YouTuber. I don't know if you guys know him or not. His name is Hamza, right? So he just walked by and he's like, "Hey bro, that's a nice book you're reading." And then we just ended up chatting. So like he ended up giving me so much insights about YouTube. I told him what I do in the e-commerce business. I told him about the sneaker company that I own, Sneeds, right? So I told him about that, and it was just a very insightful conversation, right? And I didn't know that he was a big YouTuber at that time. That guy was so humble. We just talked like for 15 minutes. We exchanged Instagrams. It was just like good, like good chat. And then after, I was just playing pool with my friends, and they're like, "Hey, you didn't know who was that guy?" And he's like, "He's Hamza. He's such a huge guy on YouTube." I'm like, "Bro, I didn't know that." And that guy was so down to earth. Like that was one of the best people that I've met, right? So the point being, if I didn't take that flight, if I didn't go to Bali at that time, if I would have just sat at home in my comfort zone, and I wouldn't have stepped out and not spent that money there, I would have never met him, right? And I would have never gotten that much insight, about YouTube and everything. And I told him that I'm going to start my YouTube career as well. So he gave me a lot of insights, tips and tricks. So that was, these are the kind of experiences which you will get only when you're traveling. And also traveling is fun. I upload a lot of my traveling content on my Instagram. So if you guys want to check that out, you can see my Instagram somewhere in the description below. Spend that money on travel, get that experience, because you have very less time in your life, right? Life is short. You have very less time in your hands. Now, since we're talking about time, the third one which comes to my mind is going to be this, and this is one of the stupidest things that I've done, and this is something that I've seen people do a lot, but they do not realize it at all. And that is when they prioritize spending time over money. I mean, for example, let's say if you want to reach from point A to point B, and there's one public transport, okay, that takes you around 3 hours. And there's one way, which is a private transport, which is going to be a little bit more expensive, but that takes you just 1 hour. So that means if you take the private transport, you're going to save 2 hours every day. That equals to 14 hours a week. Now, if you're thinking, you know what, I'll save my money by going into the public transport or whatever the cheaper option is, but costs more in time. If you think that you're going to save money, then you're absolutely wrong. The only thing that you're spending here is time. You're not saving any kind of money. Trust me, time is more important than money. If you would have taken that private route, it might have cost you a little bit more. But the 14 hours that you get per week is going to be so much more worth than the money that you spend. Just think about it. Maybe you're using that time to spend more time with your family. Maybe you're using that time to maybe work on a side hustle. Spending that extra money will eventually buy you time. Spending your time is going to be the most expensive thing in the world. Money is not expensive. Time is the most expensive thing. I mean, think about it. Why do these millionaires and billionaires travel in private jets? It's not because they have a lot of money to burn. Trust me, these people know how to preserve their money way better than us. The only reason they do that is because it saves them a lot of time. Because, flying commercial or flying in a commercial airplane is going to take 1 hour check-in, 1 hour waiting, like again landing, 1 hour collecting bags. So that's 3 hours. And for that level of money, 3 hours is a lot of time. So that's why they prefer taking jets. Time is money is probably the best advice that I've ever gotten about, financial stuff. Now, coming to advices, the next one that comes to my mind is kind of funny because, stop taking money advices from broke people. Now, no offense to anyone. I don't mean I don't mean any broke people but for example, let's say if you want to be somewhere, okay, you need to keep your head down for at least 3 to 4 years and just work, okay? And that is absolutely fine. But, you might get some people telling you that, hey, you know what? Money is not everything. Money won't buy you happiness. Money is not going to solve all your problems. Then think about it. Do they have money? Then think about it. Are these people who are talking to you are at the place that you want to be? Have these people made it? Every person who has made money has this opinion. Money won't buy you happiness, but you definitely need to make money. So, there's a saying on the internet, I think it's a Gen Z saying that, there's a Gen Z saying on the internet, or millennial, I don't know, it's an internet thing, it goes like, I would rather cry in a Lamborghini than I would cry in a Toyota. Now, I personally feel like that is completely wrong. I mean, imagine, think about it. If you're crying in a Toyota, you still have something to cry about, right? You might be thinking, you know what, maybe I'm not at that stage in my life financially. Maybe that's why I'm sad, right? But if you're crying in a Lamborghini, that is going to be the saddest part, because now what? You are at the top, you made it. You have one of the supercars in your garage. Now what are you sad about? So that is going to be a more lonely thing, right? That is what I feel like. So that saying is completely false. I don't believe in it at all. So you need to understand this. It's not the money that will bring you happiness. It's not the cars. It's not the jets. It's not the bottles in the club. It's not the girls. It's going to be the peace of mind that you have, okay? For example, let's say if something happens to one of your close friends, something happens to one of your family members, if you have that kind of backup, backed up in your bank account, you'll always have a peace of mind. Whatever happens, I can take care of it. And that is true happiness. Peace of mind is true happiness. And this kind of peace of mind definitely comes with money. And that is what the saying means, money does buy you happiness. Money buys you happiness when you share it, or when you have a peace of mind. It's not going to be the most expensive thing that you own is going to buy you happiness. You will forget that feeling in a couple of days. But the feeling that you will get when you gift your mom her dream house, or when you gift your siblings their dream car, you gift your dad his dream car or dream bike, whatever it is. The feeling, the moment you see that face, the moment you see your parents smile and cry about it, that is the real thing that money can buy you. And that thing, not a lot of people can afford. If you just focus on building yourself up, if you just focus on building that high skills up, if you just focus on building that money up, trust me, you will get this feeling once in life. I mean, think about it. What fun it is going to be if you're just sitting alone in a first class. You need to have your boys around you, man. You need to have your family around you. I mean, I have envisioned this for so long. Whenever I become a millionaire, hopefully next year, I'm going to have my boys all around me. I'm going to have my boys in first class, just racking up, just, clicking champagne bottles and everything. Yeah, bro, we made it. I mean, that is the real thing that money can buy, right? If I have a lot of money, why would I not spend it on my people? That's the whole point of money. Money is made to spend, right? And the real fun of money comes on spending it. If you're taking a private jet, if you're getting a family on board, if you're getting your boys on board, if you're getting your close friends, school friends, whatever that is, getting that feeling with your close ones, that is the main thing that money buys. So please do not believe anyone who tells you that money is not everything. Don't just work for money. Money is not gonna buy you happiness at all. Do not listen to them. Just put your head down, work for a couple of years, get up, and then take care of the people around you. That's the main thing. So yeah, money is pretty simple. Do not overcomplicate it, right? Learn the basics about money. Learn the basics about compounding. First, try to get to a 6-figure mark per month, Try to get some high value skills. Once you have ample amount of money per month flowing in, then make that money work for you. And as I said, learn the concept of compounding. And just so you know, whatever you're working on, you're definitely going to make it. It's not a matter of if, it's only a matter of when. And that's it for the video, guys. I hope you love this video. If you have any doubts, any questions, just drop them in the comment section. I will try to answer most of them. And yeah, that's it. Peace.